Oh, let me guess, you were about to take out the trash or brush your teeth, or you were looking for a different YouTube video to watch and figured this one is good enough to put in the background. Cause you can't go a single second without something playing across the room while you accomplish literally any task. You know you have a problem, right? Yeah, it's bad. I have that problem too, very much so. I'm not better than you, I just wanted to pretend that I was for a second there. It felt nice. My sister has on many occasions pointed out that I am always listening to some sort of video, movie, show, song, podcast while I'm doing literally anything around the house. Now she insists this is unhealthy behavior. My response?
Shut up, you're ugly.
I am physically incapable of leaving my headphones at home. There are times where, and I wish this was a joke, where I have been out for an extended period of time and forgotten my headphones and have genuinely considered paying full price for a brand new pair just because I didn't have the other ones. Never brought myself to actually do it. I have, on the other hand though, bought spare headphones of worse quality to keep in my bag just in case such a scenario happens again. I don't like to use the word addiction, but doctors might. Having to write that down for the script for this video and then saying it out loud to you right now helps me to truly realize this is insane behavior and it needs to be addressed. So why is it that it is so unappealing to be left alone with one's thoughts for even a single second? Here's what strangers on the internet told me about the subject. What exactly is it that people fear about silence? Why is it that every time you go to sleep, wake up, take a shower, go to work, drive a car, eat, sleep, breathe, you need to have something playing in the background at all times? I'm not entirely sure. Look, I'm not exactly a scholarly researcher or anything, but I look things up when making these videos, and I like to think that I often come to a decent and satisfying conclusion. But if I'm being totally honest, and everything I've read and watched in preparation for this video, it all came across as very vibes-based to me. So take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but I do have some ideas. I think silence is scary for the same reason the dark is scary. Like, I'm not scared of the dark, I'm scared that something is hiding from me in the dark. Likewise, I'm not scared of silence, I'm scared that the silence is going to be broken by something I don't like. The untamed and unrestricted mind is a powerful and frightening thing, not unlike the vast and unknown abyss of outer space. What lies within it isn't fully known. Its beauty is beyond belief, but its capacity for chaos is immeasurable. Only a fool would endeavor to venture in it alone and unrestricted. The tether allows the astronaut to witness the stars without being consumed and irreparably destroyed by them. Just to be clear, in this very good metaphor I just told, your mind is outer space, you are the astronaut, and the tether is a rerun of Full House, sure. There are dozens of YouTube videos that I watch over and over and over again just because I don't want to feel alone. And it's to the point where I know the script almost word for word now. When I was in middle school, I would watch a concerning amount of the Odd Ones Out videos. So much so that nearly 7 years later, there are dozens of his videos that I still remember the scripts for. More lights? This place is absolutely glittering!
Its fate was sealed as soon as it crossed over the threshold.
These videos and shows and movies are no longer about being entertained at this point. It's not as funny anymore because you already know all the jokes. It's not as suspenseful anymore because you already know the ending. And it doesn't have that same emotional roller coaster because you already know about every gut-wrenching revelation. So then why watch it over and over and over again? Because you don't really need all that stuff on a daily basis. You want a comfort zone, something that feels safe and predictable. And there's nothing as safe and predictable as something you have already seen a million times. You want to try out a new show? Sure, but I mean, it could suck. You know what'll never let you down? Your favorite episode of your favorite show that you've already seen a dozen times. The secret is to slow cook the onions. Sometimes I put on comfort shows in the background just so I can pretend like I have friends over in my mind. That's clearly not what's happening, and that's kind of weird once you say it out loud, but it is what it is. Like, I can simulate not being alone even though I understand that I am. I'll just end up putting on a rerun of a show I've seen a dozen times, like Full House. You know what I think it's like? Have you ever tried to distract a crying child? 1 minute, they will be screaming their ears off with all the pain of 1,000 wounds written on their face. But then you give them like a chicken nugget, and they're good. This may not be 100% accurate, but I think that the pattern is somewhat repeating itself here. Like, yeah, sure, I feel sad right now, or maybe I have some stuff I have to deal with, or maybe I feel anxious inside, but if I put something constantly in my ear so I don't give my brain time enough to process it, I can kind of pretend that it's not there. Put on Full House again. I think I put too much pressure on a moment of silence and stillness going well. I'm just too afraid I'm gonna mess it up, so I sit there just thinking, okay, we're gonna enjoy the silence, we're gonna enjoy it because it's peaceful and serene and aesthetic, and don't think of anything bad, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So I'm doing this process subconsciously until it becomes a conscious thought, and then it becomes the only conscious thought, and then I'm thinking about it, and then I'm feeling sad, and I'm overthinking this, and I'm panicking, and I don't like this. Put on Full House again. Overthinking is a beautiful thing, except no it isn't, it's terrible. I have spent days, if not weeks, mulling over single social interactions. Just one thing, could have lasted like 30 seconds. Yeah, that's about 3 weeks of time I'm never gonna get back. Do they like me? Why did I say that? Why didn't they laugh when I said that? They can sense that I'm not worthy of attention. Why was I born? I have learned over and over again that I simply cannot trust my brain to enjoy a moment of nothingness and silence. It will always find a way to take over and ruin it. Do you ever have memories so embarrassing? The only thing you can do is to yell and become physically agitated in response? I know I do. Like, you remember that one time you tried really hard to make a joke in front of a large group, you paused for laughter, and no one laughed? There's also arguments that you wish had gone differently. Things that friends did that, like, technically I really should be over this by now, but it's still, like, it kind of annoys me a little bit. Regrets, fears, issues with parental figures, they're all waiting in the back of your mind, waiting to ruin any moment of solace and peace you find yourself having. But if I never give my brain the proper time to process those things because I always have the song playing in the background to distract me, then are those things even really there? Yes. Sure, but I can pretend that they're not there, and that's basically the same thing. No. Well, that's just, okay. But let's assume you're normal and you don't have anything in your head that you're trying to run away from. You're cool. You're fine, you think. There's nothing specific you're avoiding thinking about. There's nothing you're afraid of in your head, yet you still always like to be hearing something. Why is that? Have you ever seen Mindfield? It was one of those, you remember when YouTube was making like premium shows, YouTube Red? You remember that? Mindfield was Vsauce's YouTube Red show. It was essentially Vsauce making Vsauce videos but with a bigger budget. It's a pretty good show, and its first episode has this really interesting experiment. Now, this isn't the first of its kind, but imagine that you have a button and all it does is shock you. That's it. That's the end of that sentence. There's no reward, there's no prize, there's no gratification, nothing. It just shocks you. That's it. Now, based on that description, would you just willingly press that button? No? Well, Jameson agrees.
Jameson, would you choose to experience this again?
I don't want to do that again because it shocked me and I can still feel it going down my forearm.
But when they stuck Jameson in this room for 30 minutes with no one to talk to and nothing to do but press this very painful button, what do you think he did? Again, to be clear, there is no reward. He gets nothing from it. He doesn't get to leave the room early. It's just pain. So of course he does what any of us would do. Within the first 10 minutes, he presses the button twice. He preferred any stimulus, in this case physical pain, over being bored. Boredom is very annoying, and unfortunately, it only gets more and more prevalent as one gets older. Because the older you get, the less new experiences there are for you to have. In general, life will seem more tired and been there, done that, because you simply have been there and done that. But we hate that feeling so much we'll replace it with anything, whether it be physical pain or the second closest thing, the 14th rewatch of Full House. Most of us view thinking as a very passive activity that you don't really have to think about. We're born with it. We do it all the time. You're probably thinking right now. Thinking is not a skill. And sure, we do have thoughts all the time. You think, I'm sure. But here's the thing. I don't think you're very good at it. Like, if every time you're left alone with your thoughts, it goes south, you're probably not as good at it as you think you are and should probably work on it. I'm speaking about myself too. I do it too. We're in the same boat together. The sinking boat, that is. From what I've been reading, thinking needs to be treated more like a skill. Your thoughts need to be taught how to move and affect you. So if thinking is more than just something we do and it's a skill, how do we get better at it? One suggestion I found that I think makes a lot of sense is to make a note of all the things that you would like to dwell on, daydream about, mentally plan whenever you have the spare time. Like an actual note, like sit down and actually write all those things and then think about them later. So the next time you're on the train, visualize your perfect first date. Next time you're at the grocery store, think about where you would like your career to be in the next 5 years. Next time you're doing the dishes, think about which one of your classmates you suspect is fat now. Do you see the vision? Now, I understand that this can seem ridiculous. I sure thought it was, to sit down and plan what you're going to think about later, but we've been freestyling it this whole time, and how's that worked out for us? Knowing how to steer your thoughts is a skill that can be mastered with time and practice. This can be a very daunting task to think about. Again, leaving my house for an extended period of time without headphones, to me, is a punishment worse than death. You expect me to give up my sweet background garbage cold turkey just like that? The answer is no. But like any task, it starts small, with like a minute or two of silence, and then we build from there. With that being said, let's try something. This is probably going to completely mess up my retention graph, but I think it's worth it. We're gonna sit here together for 1 entire minute, 60 seconds, silence, don't click off, don't look at your phone, don't do anything. We're just going to sit and experience nothing together. You ready? That wasn't so bad, right? But what about boredom? Boredom is a very powerful tool. From it, we get some of our best ideas. Why? Because we hate it so much. Sandy Mann, psychology lecturer at the University of Central Lancashire, there's no way I said that right, and the author of the book, The Upside of Downtime, Why Boredom is Good, is quoted as saying that boredom is a search for neural stimulation that isn't satisfied. If we can't find that, our mind will create it. That is to say, our brains hate boredom so much it will create its way out of it. In general, it will force itself to come up with something to occupy the time, and a lot of times, that thing is creative ideas. For example, sometimes I get in some of my best video ideas when just going on long walks with no purpose. Now, on those walks, am I blasting music the entire time? 100%, but you get the idea. My brain is more still than it typically is, so it's trying to find something to shake it up. If I'm being totally honest, I miss the ability as a kid to just look out a window or be in an empty room and just be content and happy. Because when I was a kid, my imagination would just run wild with that. And really, that's not a unique experience. I'm sure you can relate to that. Come up with funny scenarios. I could come up with story ideas. I could think about what I wanted to be when I grew up and just random daydreams and stuff like that. Was it productive? I mean, I guess not, but it was fun. And look, it's not like putting on a show or music or podcast is really that much productive either. As I'm sure you know, silence is very peaceful and it can serve as an effective emotional dampener. If you're experiencing a really high energy emotion on either side of the spectrum, so it could be rage, it could be total bliss, when you sit in an empty room, it kind of just brings you to equilibrium. With no stimulus to add to the emotion, the nothingness of silence will serve to dilute it. For example, in our minute of silence together that I know you did faithfully and didn't skip it, did you feel it? I'm sure you did. Small tweak though, it should be noted that relaxation and boredom are two different things. You're winding down for the evening with a good book, some classical music, and a glass of cold Merlot. Now that is some rest and relaxation right there. We're not talking about that. Sitting in a dark and empty room with nothing but a blank Word document staring back at you, that is where greatness is made. Remove as much stimulus as you can so that the only options are do this or do nothing. Also, food for thought. When was the last time you heard yourself think? A quote that I found recently while researching this topic fits in really well here. Filling your spare time with someone else's voice shuts out your own. These external voices are nothing but a distraction from what's really bothering you, or just on your mind, or something that you want to or need to address. And the fact is, you're gonna have to deal with it eventually. So listen to your own voice, and as difficult as it is, stop trying to drown it out with literally anything at all times, all at once, forever. So as this video comes to a close, and before you look for your next show, movie, video, song, or podcast to put in the background of whatever task you're doing now, just take a second to enjoy the silence and breathe.